how do you do a peak on a house? Now, if you look at this and you bring it together and you have a peak, you're trying to figure out how to make that peak look good. Now, you could cut these diagonally and try to match them up, all kinds of things. I like to use a notching technique. The other thing that's important to note when you're doing a peak is normally when you're laying these rails on a house, you're just laying a piece of rail and then you're putting another one after it and another one after it. Whenever you get to a section of a house that has a peak, you want to immediately go and do the very peak of that roof first. And the reason for that is you want the lights to be balanced in the peak. Otherwise, if you just install it however the tracks come up, you might end up with something like this where you've got one light a couple inches from the peak and the other light a foot from the peak or something like that. You want them to be pretty balanced. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and notch two tracks together. And the best way I've found to do that is you want to come in here, and again I'm going to grab my square, and you want to measure 3/4 of an inch from the edge of this bracket. So I'm going to come in, and 3/4 of an inch is going to be right here. So I'm just going to bring my square across, and I'm going to mark that line. And at that line, I'm going to go ahead and get the appropriate tin snips here, and I'm going to cut that. I'm going to come up, and I'm going to come down, just like we've seen in other cuts that we do. And I've got that cut right there. Now on the inside, I'm just going to put this up against this edge, and I'm going to cut into that same 3/4 of an inch. Now, I'm not actually going to touch this outer edge we have right here. I'm just cutting the inside. Now that that's cut like that, I always like to bend these with my pliers right here. So I'm just going to come through and kind of bend it along this line a little bit. And you'll see that it naturally pulls a straight line right there. You can also use this technique when you're cutting rails in half. And now I've got a good clean cut. Now when I come up to do the peak, these rails are going to fit together just like this. Now you can see they fit very, very tight. Now you might say, okay, well that's if you've got a 45-degree peak, but some peaks aren't 45 degrees. Now if I bring this down, it's creating a little bit of a gap here. So according to whatever angle I have on that peak, I start at this 3/4, and then I'm just going to eliminate some more material from this side to get the angle of the peak that I want. So let's say my peak is not a 45 degree, let's say it's more like this. Well, I'm just going to come in here and remove a little bit of this material. You can see now where it meets up, you can actually do a slightly wider angle. And if we need it to be a little bit wider than that, we'll go ahead and cut some more material off until we get to the width that we need.